Hello again, welcome back. This is the one video this week that's a non-Japanese director, but one of the films is set in Japan, so and it's all about a really good Japanese subject matter. So it's still tied to Japan. It's a double bill of Bernard Rose films. Bernard Rose was a British director, came up in the 80s, and he became famous in the 90s when he directed Candyman. He directed a couple of films like Mortal Beloved, things like that. Then he went out of fashion with a bang for the big filmmakers because he wanted to do darker subjects. So he had his struggles to get financing for his films. Recently he's actually been a bit more, he's had more projects that had wider release again. For a while a lot of his films were really hard to get hold of. But recently he's had two films that have had some decent releases, which is Frankenstein and this new one, Samurai Marathon. They've not had massive releases, but you can find them, you know. They're going to have Ivan's X, whatever you call it, from Arrow coming soon. So there's films from the world this year are now starting to come out, but it's taking its time. But these two films I'm talking about, Frankenstein and Samurai Marathon, are two very good examples of how Rose remained a very good director. Frankenstein is like, obviously it's Frankenstein, but it takes a great view of it. He kind of strips it down so that he sticks to one part of the text and throws everything else out. It's set in modern day. It's a Frankenstein monster that's been created in the lab, and it's just for research, and the monster has problems. Its body is starting to break down pretty quick, but it escapes from the lab, and you see it going around the world, going around the local area, and getting into a lot of the situations that the Frankenstein monster did when it got out of the lab in the original tale. So it's about the Frankenstein monster. The Frankenstein character is played by Danny Huston, who has appeared in a lot of Bernard Rose films, but he's in it for like 10 minutes. The actual creation of the monster is not the issue. The creation is barely seen. It's not a big deal. The actual Frankenstein character is split into two people because it's split into Danny Huston and Carrie-Anne Moss, who's his wife. So it's a couple doing this. So, and he's Danny Huston's kind of the absentee father, and Carrie-Anne Moss is the more human side of the person who still has some humanity to her. But she's got problems too. But you never really see them that much. They're there, but they're in the background. The main thing is the monster. The monster goes through like kind of Southern California. That's what it feels like. It feels like shot in that kind of area, or an area that's not that industrial that they could get filming permits for. It feels like a small city and some smaller towns around about it. And you see the monster is really a creature who's just trying to survive. He's trying to work out how to survive in this world and try to find the cues. He can't really speak, and he's trying to figure out how to deal with the world and how to deal with people. So you get the idea of the little girl from the original story about him trying to work out D4 in the water or whatever. He does get him with a blind tramp who doesn't see his deformities and who helps him. And you do see him go through the whole story of Frankenstein. But it's done all in the face of the lead actor, and whose name I cannot remember at the moment for some reason. But he's very good, and it's all about the monster trying to survive. And that's all it's about. It's about what happens to a creature who has been born and then has been discarded, and how does it survive in the world, a modern world, how the world has not changed much since the time of Frankenstein, how it's still the same problems. It's a wonderful film. It's very low budget, so some of the effects aren't great, but the tale itself is so well told. It's so interestingly told by just sticking to the monster, and everything else doesn't matter. And it's having a modern world to just show off the sense of a world that never really changes. Human nature never really changes. We like to say we've changed, but we really haven't. And it's just this sense of a world that's still cruel to the unusual. and the sense of how fragile life actually is, and the sense of how beautiful life can be if you're sort of someone who's just first discovering it, how that can get tainted and taken away from you. It's a wonderful film. It's one of the best Frankensteins. I highly recommend it. I'm trying to not say that much so you can go and enjoy it, because I've just given you an idea where it's a modern day Frankenstein and it's mainly the monster. That's it. That's all I'm trying to say. Samurai Marathon is a really interesting project. This was, I think it's his last released film so far, and the lead actor from Himizu's in it. There's lots of good Japanese actors you'll recognise. Even I recognise some of the faces, and I'm no expert. Basically, it takes place in the 1800s. It takes place in 1860. It happens just before the American Civil War, and America is starting to try to open its borders to Japan, and Japan is resisting, but it's slowly getting interested in the new worlds about it. It had been cut off for so long, it's now getting ready to face up to modernity, at least in its own way. And that's scaring a lot of the clans who have existed for so long using their old cultural ways, some of which are a problem and some of which aren't. It just depends on your point of view. A lot of people are tied to it, but there's lots of issues below the surface. Everyone spies on each other. There are spies within each clan for the ruling clan just to make sure no one gets out of line and gets too ambitious. There's lots of social issues you can deal with, daughters are married off against their will to the top soldiers, and even if they don't really want to be anywhere near them, they have to marry them. And there's things like that. There's a lot of social issues that haven't really been, that are just congealed within this society. It's not all great, but it also has there's also elements of people are thrown away, and the system doesn't really support them. There's yeah, go away now, you've done your time, get lost. There's that sense of people not being given their value. So because these Americans are now coming in with these guns, one of the Japanese leaders decides that he feels that they're going to get overtaken by this, that the old system won't survive. So what they have to do is make sure the samurai are actually as good as they can be, that they're actually, prepared for the future. So they have to be fitter, they have to go back to old traditions that have become lesser over time because there's been less need for everything, so people could float by and not quite be as top class as they used to be, or they had to be during the warring times. So he wants them to get better again. So he tells them, we're going to do a marathon. You're going to run up this massive route up to the top of a mountain, then come back the way down. And once you've done that, if you do that, you keep your job, and if you can't, you have problems. And everyone's doing it. No matter what department you're in, if you're accountancy, you're still doing it. So yeah, there's people who are accountants and things. It's not just all people with swords. It's people who are running the society and making sure everything runs on time for the leader. They have to do it too. And one of them is a spy for the overlord. And you find that as you go along, there's way more spies than you thought. There's tons of spies. There's lots of people who are willing to betray them. And one of these spies accidentally sends something because of the marathon. He thinks it's a plot. Before he was told it's a marathon, he thinks it's a plot to attack the overlord. So he sends a warning, something's coming. Then he realises it's not a plot, it's just a marathon. So he tries to send her a message saying, look, it's not a plot. But he's not sure whether that's going to get there in time or not. And at this point, Overlord's taking advantage of this to actually try and go against this other clan leader. So it doesn't really matter whether he got the message or not. He got an excuse to go against the other guy. So it's just nasty stuff. So the the story really is about these people trying to do this marathon, then halfway through realise they're about to be attacked and have to get back and defend their homes and defend their people. And all the different people who have their agendas. Like, it turns out the boss of the guy who was a traitor is also a traitor. And he's way more into this than the guy who sent the message, because he wants a lot of power. There's one of the soldiers who's a sidekick to the general. He's a traitor as well, and he tries to kill the general and tries to cause havoc among the lines so that no one will be organised enough to defend them. There's lots of things like this going on, and there's other people there's one guy who played the lead in Himizu, who's the fastest runner, but he's not a samurai yet, and he's like, if he wins this, he can get told he can become a samurai, but he's in a lot of pressure. Everyone knows he's the fastest, there's a lot of pressure from him as to actually throw the race for the gamblers, and also they basically say, if you throw the race, we'll make sure you become a samurai, like guaranteed. So there's pressures on him. So everyone's got pressures. One of the daughters of the clan leader, she's been forced into marriage she doesn't want, so she just disappears, and everyone's trying to find her. And she's trying to use the marathon to sneak through the gates to get out of the area. So everyone's got their problems, and it's all about the problems for the first hour of the film. It's all about the setup to the race, and who are all the players, and what's going on, and what are the difficulties of the era, and what are the fears of the era, and why is the leader doing it. At the end of the race, as the race goes on, you find out more and more about that stuff and who are the traitors. And then you've got the resolution of they have to fight back. And it's a terrific film. It's not the most top class film. It does have the thing of it's a director in a foreign land, directing actors in a different language. So there's a lot of stiffness here or there, but nothing that bad. I think it could have lost 10 minutes. It's a bit over long, but it's still really well made. It's still really enjoyable, and it is about it's a very unique idea. It is about how the West came into Japan and how that influence destroyed those structures and made Japan have to adjust. So it is a very good subject for a foreign director to come in and do about Japan, because they're the ones doing the damage. Danny Houston shows up as the guy who's selling the guns in the first place. He's there for about 10 minutes of the film. And it's a terrific film. It's really well made. It's really enjoyable. I had a great time with it, and I highly recommend it. You're going to have a good time with this one. It's a terrifically made film. It's about an interesting subject matter. The characters are multi-layered. Everyone's got their issues. Everyone has to try and rise to the occasion when things go south. So I highly recommend both of these films. These are two very good films made by a very good director. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back soon with the final one of the week, which will be really, really trashy. Well, see you later.